Hello and welcome back to Toys Thursday with Johnny Tiger. I'm June 1st, almost say May 1st, June 1st, 2023. And today is a simple one. This is International Dinosaur Day. Apparently, there's multiple International Dinosaur Day. One's on May 15th and one's on June 1st. And I believe there's one later on in the year as well. And this is not the first time on this channel that we have looked at a dinosaur action figure. In fact, last week we looked at a gigantic marine reptile. So this feels almost like familiar ground. However, I do have some really cool figures I'm going to show you guys today. And we are opening the video with this Jurassic World uh, Tyrannosaurus from Mattel. Now, I can't remember which T-Rex this one was supposed to be. I have quite a few of them, and this is either the Thrash and Throw T-Rex or the Stomp and Escape T-Rex, or there's quite a few of them, and honestly, they kind of mostly look similar, and just with slightly different texture, maybe slightly different attributes, but after a while, they start to just all blend in together. That does not make them bad dinosaur toys, or I mean, they're by Mattel and they're from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, so obviously they're not going to be ultra realistic like some of those high-end dinosaur toys, dinosaur action figures. But for something that costs like 25 bucks, 30 bucks, it is pretty good. It's larger than a lot of action figure horses in the 6 to 7 inch scale. Um, Obviously, they're too small to be full-size T-Rex, but if you got one of those Mattel colossal T-Rex, which is like 40 inches long and super big, uh, then these can stand beside that one as like a juvenile, as a little smaller, maybe teenage T-Rex, and that's perfectly fine. That's basically what I did. Um, and on top of that, I just love dinosaurs, and for the price point, this is really not a bad T-Rex to have on your shelf, just to scratch that dinosaur itch. Speaking of dinosaur itch, because it is Dinosaur Day, I will talk a little bit about what's out there for dinosaur action figures, dinosaur related action figures, because this has been an interesting year. Last year, around this time last year, if you wanted dinosaur related action figures, you were pretty much limited to Mattel for Jurassic Park dinosaur, and then you have the uh, Beast of the Mesozoic by I believe it's David Silva. Uh, I might have gotten his first name wrong, but uh, the Beast of the Mesozoic is like more high-end dinosaur action figure. I've shown three raptors from their line, and during the I think it was an episode where we talk about like killer turkeys or something like that. And those are great dinosaur toys, but they're expensive. Like a T-Rex um, from them would go for about $200 US, somewhere around that. Like if you want the big one, right? So that was pretty much it. Of course, there are some other company like PayPal and Schleich and various companies that make like dinosaur models or statues. But if you wanted articulated dinosaurs to fight your Marvel superheroes or Ninja Turtles or guys like that, you're pretty much down to them. And oh yeah, Neca. Neca did some Triceratons from the Ninja Turtle cartoon, which we'll be taking a look at today. Uh, But that was it. Like the picking was really slim for dinosaurs. If you wanted dinosaur action figures, it was uh, very, very slim picking. However, this year it's kind of crazy because this has been a year for dinosaurs and a year for skeletons. Like last year, same thing. From around this time last year, if you want a skeleton action figure, you're rather limited. You're pretty much limited to getting Four Horsemen Studio Mythic Legion skeletons, which they're great, but honestly, like they're really hard to get sometimes and kind of expensive. Um, and then there were the Storm collectible skeletons uh, in the Golden Axe video game series. But those, again, they are so expensive and really lightweight. Like getting one of those skeletons, even two of those skeletons in the box, and you just don't feel like you get your money worthwhile. They're so lightweight and so flimsy feeling. Um, but that's basically it for skeleton. Now we'll talk about skeletons more in the future episode. I don't want to like sidetrack myself. Um, Suffice to say, this year has been great for skeletons and dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, for no reason at all. At the end of last year, we see the Fortnite by Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale toy line came out with a pair of raptors, dinosaurs. I mean, those are kind of cartoonish and like not really good, but you're dinosaurs, and they're sized properly to go with your 6 inch, 7 inch action figures, and so they're cool. And then this year we have a dinosaur action figure, uh, Dinosaur Man, that being put out for the 6 inch scale by Boss Fight Studio in their Saurozoic Warriors. I hate pronouncing that. Um, and those are pretty cool. I personally am not getting any of those. Not because I don't think I would like them, just because you kind of have to draw a line sometime in your collection. And my collection is nowhere as big as a lot of other collectors, but my wallet is also nowhere as deep as most other collectors. So I have to pick and choose. And at this point in time, starting a new line of Dinosaur Man, it's just not a good idea, right? So, Boss Fight Studio came up with a whole line of Dinosaur Man this year, and they're actually working on Series 2 right now. So if you guys want to check them out, go look them up on the on Big Bad Toy Store or on their own website. It's pretty cool. And then, as if in answer to the challenge, there's another company, I believe it's called Axie Toy or AXY Toys, that's coming out with something called uh, Battlefield Dinosaur or Dinosaur Battlefield. Um, and these are big. Like these are like 9 inch, 8 or 9 inch figure, really bulky. Come with totally lots of removable doodash, like spikes and horns and armor pieces. Like again, these are dinosaur men, but these are more like classic medieval fantasy kind of dinosaur men. They're not as cartoonish or modern or sci-fi as what Boss Fight Studio is putting out. And these also go really expensive too. They're like $90 each. So they're big. They have a lot of things that you can remove from them, put on them, but they are pricey. And then talk about big and pricey. Just as I thought that the year was all done with dinosaur, we get yet another entry into the dinosaur playing ground, and this time come in the Defender of Eden, the Army of Ashmore. The Kickstarter is still going on right now, and they are trying to make 9 inch, 10 inch gigantic dinosaur warriors. Again, medieval fantasy, armor, swords, axes, and these actually will be sculpted by the Four Horsemen Studio, which means you know they'll be good. Like Four Horsemen Studio is known for fantastic sculpt, fantastic design. Uh, but yeah, these are not going to be cheap. Although I will say, if you are interested and go back to the Kickstarter, you will be able to get each one of them for like $60 US, right? So that's actually quite a good deal. I collect a lot of Four Horsemen action figures, and I will tell you, if they are designing these, if they are sculpting these, that $60 will be really, really well spent. It seems a lot right now, but when you consider you are getting a 9-inch tall, really bulky dinosaur dude for $60, that's actually pretty worth the price. Now, personally speaking, I am going to just wait until they hit retailers before I get. I think I'm just going to get one of them because I don't have the shelf space or the money to get an entire to start an entire new line of collection, new line of dinosaur dudes. But uh, one would be cool. I wouldn't mind just like one armored dinosaur warrior standing on my shelf fighting the trolls and ogres and stuff like that. That would be nice. So I think I'm just going to wait until it hits Big Back Toy Store or Entertainment Earth and then grab one from there. That's my thought right now anyway, because for me to get from the Kickstarter, although I'll get each figure cheaper, the shipping is going to be flipping ridiculous. Like I'm telling you guys, living in Canada is rough when you collect action figures sometimes because even though you can get some of these at a reasonable price, the shipping is going to negate any of that. Like my last shipment that came through from Four Horsemen Studio, right? I had to pay over $40 shipping fee, and then when it got here, FedEx wanted to charge me another $35 just to pick it up. So that means altogether I had to pay $75 just to get the figures in my hand. That's just not cool, right? So I think going off of something like Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, at least I can get them to hold the figure until I am actually in the US in person, and then get them to ship it to my location in the US when I am there to see my beautiful, intelligent girlfriend. And she's so kind to let me ship some of my figures to her place, and it saves so much money that way. Anyway, without further ado, I know this is like I've been rambling on and on, but I just thought I'd give you guys an idea of what's available out there for dinosaur collectors, dinosaur lovers. There's a lot out there. Defender of Eden, the Boss Fight Studio, Zoic Warrior, uh, the David Silva, uh, Beast of the Mesozoic, the Mattel Jurassic World, and then Dinosaur Battlefield by Axie Toy. Yeah, you can thank me later. So with that said, let's look at also Dinosaur Warriors from Neca. We got Captain Zarax and his buddy Zork from Neca, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toy line. And these actually came out in 2020, I believe. Uh, NECA first released some one that they called the Triceraton infantryman. That was an army builder. I never did get my hand on that one. And then they released the captain and then the gunner. I guess it's like a gunnery sergeant or something like that. So Xerox and Zork, these two bad boys came in a gigantic two-pack in a box like this. I remember getting this box in my hand, and I was like, well, yeah, okay, this set was expensive. Was like I believe it was like 110, maybe $100, somewhere around that. But getting that box in your hand, you feel okay, maybe that wasn't so bad because it's heavy and it's big. And this two are quite chunky. These are two chunky dinosaur man action figures. Now their history is not that complicated, so let's run through who are the Triceratons, what do they do, and who are these two um, Triceratops monster dude. I swear that they're not meant to be kissing. Maybe they're just like having a nice quiet conversation. Well, it's mostly because my countertop is really narrow and these are big, bulky boys. So they are nose to nose, but I swear they're not kissing. I'm not suggesting that they have something romantic going on with them. Although with alien dinosaur man, you never know, but whatever, you know. So, Triceraton, they are from the Ninja Turtle cartoon only these actually only appeared in like one episode. So they're really obscure characters. I didn't even know about them. I didn't need to know anything about them. Okay, you just tell me, hey Johnny, there's some action figures, blah 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 blah. They're big and bulky. They're dinosaur dude, and immediately you got my attention. I don't need to know the backstory. I don't need to know if they lost their parents when they were children or any of that. Okay, well, they didn't, but anyway, I'm just like going off to the left field here. Um, Triceratons, they are dinosaur aliens that travel around the galaxy, conquering people, turning people's planet into their new dinosaur playground. So they are called Triceratons, obviously, because they are Triceratops. They are big and beefy. They walk on two legs. They have tails, and they have a big old Triceratops head with sharp horns on them. And they use guns and swords, and they beat people up, and they are really mean. Like I said, the story is not complicated because they only appear in like one or two episodes of the cartoon, and yeah, I mean it really is just like this simple, right? Uh, Dinosaur Man come to Earth, trying to take the Earth over, and then fought the Ninja Turtles, and in the end, Dinosaur Man went away, defeated, and that was that, right? A very generic, boring story, but we did get some really cool action figure for that, so that's cool. Um, and the one on the right, the yellow one, for those of you that can actually see the screen, the yellow one, that is Captain Zerax. Some place call him Captain Zorax. So either way is right. He is the commanding officer for one of the fleet that came to Earth to try to conquer Earth. And the one on the left, uh, he's uh, sidekick here is called Zork. Now, again, Zork is one of the Triceraton, and I believe he is the gunner on the spaceship. That he's the one that's in charge of blowing things up. And so, Zerax and Zork is our happy twosome, happy Triceratons uh, duo we are going to be taking a closer look at today. They are mostly very similar, right? These two, they are built primarily on the same parts, and same thing with the Triceraton uh, infantrymen that came out before they did. So all the Triceratons seem to share the same body, but arms and legs are the same. But with that said, and you guys know how much I hate reused molds and reused body parts. As a blind person, I always feel that because I can't get enjoyment out of the paint and colors and that stuff. So when it's just the same feels like the same figure, I feel like I'm getting ripped off. With that said, this two actually feels amazingly different in hand, and you can tell they're made from the same parts, but there's enough added on that they feel different. They feel different enough. So I will never get them confused on the shelf. One thing that is immediately noticeably different is the front of their armor. Captain Xerox's armor has more details and textures in the front, while uh, Zork has like a sash that goes across his body from one shoulder and go down and around his body like that. So that is a very big difference. And Captain Xerox also comes with a pair of wrist blades because this is a dinosaur that can just get in there and use his swordsmanship to kick butt. Like, uh, honestly, in the episode when Captain Xerox went one on one against Leonardo, he actually beat Leonardo in one on one combat. And that's really rare. Like, Leonardo is like the swordsman in the Turtles, and like maybe he's like the leader and maybe the most skilled. But yeah, Xerox was able to beat him in one-on-one combat. I mean, Xerox is really big, and he is a dinosaur, like a dinosaur going against a turtle. Yeah, then you got to cut Leo some slacks there. But hey, it's not very often that Leo loses to somebody in a one-on-one sword fight. So that's pretty impressive. So to replicate that, uh, Xerox, Captain Xerox here actually comes with his trademark wrist blade that you can attach to his wrist. These figures, for accessories, they come with three guns, which I reserved for Zork because Zork is a gunner, and I just think Xerox looks so cool with his wrist blade that I want him to just be a close quarter fighter on my shelf. They also come with additional hands, so you can have them gripping their weapons or have them have fisted hands like I have on Xerox. And they have a hand that meant for holding guns. Unfortunately, each one of them only come with one gun holding hand. So later, when I put guns on Zork, he's going to just have to pretend he's holding it properly. Um, these things, like I said, the most notable thing is they're big and bulky. These are the two hefty boys, and their articulations are nice, but the articulations kind of are hindered a little bit by, especially by the shoulder pad and their armor. Um, and even though the tails are articulated at where it joined the body, there's really not a lot of pose you can get out of the tail. For the most part, I find it a little bit difficult to pose these guys because they're so big and they tip over so easily because they're huge, thick body, a lot of plastic, a lot of weight, and like small legs. Like their legs are kind of just like regular size. So they are really tipsy. Big body, big head, and big tail means these legs have to do a lot of work to prop them up. So uh, keeping them standing can be a little bit annoying sometimes. Another thing that you want to watch out for when you first get these figures is the tails are really hard to get on these figures. Um, those of you that had Leatherhead from the Turtles in Time wave from before, you would have experienced this Leatherhead's tail. Same thing, really hard to get that tail onto the figure. Like, uh, I'm very strong, and so like for me to have to really struggle to push that tail onto the figure, it was ridiculous. Like I didn't actually have to heat it up, but I probably should because it was a lot of work to get the tail to attach. Their jaws are articulated, so you can get kind of a different expression out of them. Uh, and if you look at the horns on Zerax, they are kind of capped off. I don't know what's the deal with that. I think that kind of look kind of silly, like the end of his horn, the two longer horns are capped off. Like I don't know, like they're supposed to be protected, maybe because he's a higher ranking officer, so he wears ornament on his horn. But to me, it just end up looking really strange. Uh, but on Zork, maybe because he's lower rank, so his horns are bare. So there's no cap on his horn, and these things are sharp. Be careful with these. Like if you take Zork and whack someone over the head, those horns might puncture the skin really badly. Like you might get charged for assaulting someone with lethal weapon. These are really seriously sharp, and they're not very soft either. So they can do some serious damage if you throw this action figure at someone. Moving Zarax into the background, we're going to look at Zork and the guns that they come with. I mean, technically, these guns are shared between the two of them. I just choose to have Zork be the gun guy because his title is Gunner, and the captain was known for his swordsmanship from his duel with Leonardo. So the captain doesn't get to use guns. But yeah, these guns can work with either one of them. So first we have this. I guess this is like a rocket launcher, and this looks really cool because the front of it does look like a triceratops design. So like you look at this, you know this belongs to the triceratons, and it is a big bulky weapon. Luckily, because Zork is a big bulky boy, he can hold this in one hand, no problem. The other two guns, from what I heard, actually came before with the release of Rocksteady and Bebop. But I didn't have those two, so it's cool to see them released with the Triceratons here. The first one I'll show you guys is this boxy looking machine gun. Like I said, unfortunately, each one of these guys only come with one hand meant for holding guns, so it's not going to be very convincing looking when he's holding one in each hand. But hey, uh, if if he's further back on the shelf, no one's really going to notice it. At least I hope so. Last but not least, there's this long rifle, which, funny enough, doesn't really fit in his gun holding hand anyway. It's really loose, so only the regular gripping hand can really hold this. I guess it's a good thing that there's only one gun holding hand. Like, in fact, so far I find the gun holding hand really only work with the rocket launcher. These other two weapons, they are just way too loose for the gun holding hand to work. And when he's not using his rifle, the rifle can be put through the sash and on Zork's body, so you can sort of sling it over his head, like his body, like this, carry it on his back. I'm not sure if it's meant to do that, and I hope it won't damage anything in the long term. But when he has his hands full, this is one way for him to carry that rifle. So here is Zork fully equipped with all three guns, one gun in each hand and one carry on his back. Yeah, look very impressive. It is size comparison time, and so we're going to take Zork off screen because there's only so much counter space. We're going to leave Zarax here for our comparison because Zarax is not distracted by all those guns and stuff like that. A nice, simple with his nice, cool hand blades, so there's nothing that's going to fall off of him. So we'll use Zerax for the size comparison part. First, let me bring in our trusty old Captain America because he's always a good measuring stick for how big a figure is. If we have the Triceraton standing straight up, as tall as it can get, then it's a little bit taller than Captain America, which is our golden standard for our 60-inch scale figure. I mean, Captain America here is a little bit taller than 6 inches. He's maybe 6.5 inches tall, maybe. So our Dinosaur Man here is almost 7 inches, maybe slightly over if you count the crest on his head. Um, but he's not noticeably taller. The difference there is negligible, but you can see just how chunky he is comparing to someone who's like Captain America, who's already quite a uh, strongly built, fit human proportion. Yeah, especially when you look at them in profile like this, it's really crazy. Just the amount of plastic is in just one of these Triceratons. It's one hefty, bulky figure comparing to Captain America. And even if we bring in the Incredible Hulk, who definitely is noticeably bigger than our Triceratops here, but yet the difference is not so much so that it would be a one-way battle. Uh, the Zerax here definitely have enough heft to make a go of it uh, against something as big as a Incredible Hulk. And of course, we have to do this with Leonardo, also by Neca in the Turtle in Times toy line. And Leonardo here is looking very, very small next to our Captain Zerax. I mean, it's not until you display them together that you can really appreciate. Yeah, okay, maybe Leonardo lost that fight for a good reason, because there's just so much bulk and mass behind this dinosaur dude that, and he's a skilled fighter on top of that. Leo wouldn't have stood a chance. For the most part, like a lot of other collectors, I have had a really tough time collecting these Neca Ninja Turtle action figures. They're expensive, they're really hard to find, and sometimes they break right out of the box. There has been quality control issues and supply issues and it just frustrating as heck trying to get them here in Canada. That's why I just kind of pick and choose. I don't even bother trying to get all of them because it's not possible and it's so expensive too. And but with all that said, Zarax and Zork uh, definitely what I would consider to be the better of the line, and they're hefty, bulky. They come with great accessories. They play very nice with other figures, and uh, in the end, you do get your money worth with this too. So, with that said, thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll work out during our Fitness Friday. For now, have a good evening.